And France 24's Solange Moujin now joins us in the studio to tell us more about this French tradition of les soldes, the sales that kick off today. Solange, the rules over what is considered a sale are actually quite strict in France, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. And we're going to have to break down some terms to better understand these sort of shopping bonanzas in France. In French, there are multiple words for discounts: les soldes, promotion, vente privée. And all of these are sales and discounts. But there are specific rules for businesses to use these terms to attract clients into their shops. As for les soldes, these are biannual sales, and the rules here are the strictest of them. The summer ones, les soldes d'été, generally begin on the last Wednesday of June, and les soldes de l'hiver, the winter ones, they normally start on the second Wednesday of January. Now, there are exceptions, though, to this, depending on the calendar year and on the location. Overseas territories and areas near France's borders often have different rules, all of which are enforced by the DGCCRF, or the Anti-Fraud and Consumerism Body in France. Now, they apply all of the legislation that's in place, which of course has changed over the years. Now, currently, les soldes can only last for 4 weeks. They used to be longer and have been altered because of changes in how we all shop. Now, there are other rules as well. Shop owners must show the original price as well as the discounted one, as well as put only on sale items that were already in the shop at least a month before the sales began. But above all, the main difference between les soldes and les promotions, or smaller sales, well, is that with the soldes, businesses can sell at a loss to get rid of their excess stock. During these mega sales, they are generally larger the discounts are generally larger than les promotions, or the sales that pop up all year round now.
It does seem that you see more sales throughout the year, but they can sell at a loss during the soldes. Interesting. How did les soldes get their start?
Well, they're actually a French invention, and specifically a Parisian one as well. In the early 1800s, stores with a little bit of everything, les nouveautés as they were called, they became fashionable as people had more disposable income to spend on frivolities, on nice things. One of these stores, Le Petit Saint-Thomas, on Rue du Bac in the 7th arrondissement of Paris, well, it was quite a chic place to shop. And the legend goes that its founder, Simon Manory, had a surplus of fabric, des coupons they were called. And so in 1830, he decided to sell that excess amount of fabric at a discounted price, and les soldes were born. Now, beyond this, Monsieur Manory was quite an inventive salesman. It's also attributed to him for putting actual price tags on things, allowing shoppers to roam freely through the aisles. He also created a mail order option for non-Parisians, but the story doesn't stop there. One of his employees, an Aristide Boucicaut, would eventually go on to co-found the famous department store Le Bon Marché. And it's through these grands magasins, Le Bon Marché, Le Printemps, Galeries Lafayette, that sales actually became seasonal and a very popular thing. So much so that in 1906, the French government intervened and created a law with guidelines to the sales so that prices wouldn't keep dropping. And since then, there have been a series of laws that have kept up with how our habits, when it comes to shopping, have changed.
Fascinating history of les soldes. Let's talk numbers now. How much do the French people spend compared to other nations?
Well, France's sales laws are actually much stricter than many other European nations, many of which have sales periods, but they don't have the same set-in-stone laws, especially in regard to dates. And France is definitely a far cry from the big discounts all year that you find in, for example, some American shops. Although it's important to note the phenomenon of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, well, they are now a thing here in France as well. As is, on the opposite end of the spectrum, an anti-sales sentiment that is growing among some people and also among some brands that now refuse sales with the argument that quality costs something. Nonetheless, the French, over 60% of them, generally do participate in les soldes. And an OpinionWay poll found that their budget for these summer sales is 307 euros, which is actually down from last year's budget of 362 euros. So sales, yes, but not as much shopping as before. And this is actually in line with studies that show that the French spend less of their actual total household budget, just 3.8%, on clothing and shoes, and that is actually less than other EU nations, which is quite ironic considering that France is considered such a chic and fashionable place.
Indeed. Who would have thought it? France 24's Solange Moujin with that fascinating history of les soldes here in France.